Good morning again. I'm Alessio. I'm a partner manager in Facebook Gaming, so I help companies like yours in scaling and growing in our platforms on the UA standpoint, so sharing some UA tips and tricks. And so what do we do with all the users that, luckily, with my work, you get into your app? Well, Ben's team is the one that helps you monetize those users. And today, we're going to drive you through some best practices in terms of UA and monetization. First of all, I wanted to mention that we have a bowl at the entrance. If you want to drop your business card there, you have a chance to win an amazing swag. And then you have a chance to talk with us as well. So I think it's cool. But let's start. So first of all, as I said, we will talk about some UA best practices and monetization best practices, but also how, as Facebook, we're giving the power to people and to gamers to build the world's biggest gaming community, and also on the audience network side, how we're empowering publishers to get in touch, to connect with these people, with these gamers. But first of all, let me introduce ourselves. So we're Facebook, where Facebook is the place to launch and grow your mobile game. First of all, because we developed solutions that help you uniquely discover this app through connecting you with this gamers community. When you're partnering with us, you're not only partnering with the Blue app, so 2.2 billion users of Facebook, but also with Instagram, 1 billion users, Messenger, 1.3 billion users, and Audience Network with ads, 1 billion users on top of that. So it is the place to scale, where you can find the scale you need to grow your app. And you can do this by these people, reaching the gamers in a very innovative and personalized way. We'll see how with the different optimization solutions. But how do we do this? How do we think when we develop our products? And this is mainly what I'm going to drive you through today. When we think about the solution, the development of some UA solutions, we think about what kind of questions are they answering? Or better, what kind of zone, what kind of stage is the game at? In an ideal scenario here, you see how we think about the game lifecycle. Here, for the example, for the time being, only on an in-app purchase-based game. And the strategic focus of each and every stage is different. I'm not the one that have to tell you that the strategic focus for soft launch, so the testing mindset, testing everything and finding the perfect combination of optimization, targeting, measurement in the soft launch, and then that is different than the global launch one. If you see here under the graph, there's some acronyms, and if you work with me, you know that I use them a lot. So MAI, RO, AO, VO, very weird. What are they? Well, this is the core of our UA solutions. You see them here, and they're all different in the way that they all help you looking for different gamers. So, for example, the mobile app install is the product that is allowing hyper-casual companies to reach 20 cents just to get those users. But if you want maybe retain users, you don't just want users, don't just want installs, but you want retain users. Retention optimization is the technology that helps you deliver the ad to the people that are more likely either to be or to do something in your app. Just like in the example of app event optimization, where you're not only choosing who to show the ad to, but also you want them to do some specific action inside the app, for example, purchase. The same thing for value optimization. So if you're looking for not only purchasers, but whales, that's the solution you will be looking forward to. But targeting and optimization is just one of the many questions that you need to ask yourself to develop a comprehensive and solid UA strategy. Where do I want my ad to appear? Do I only want it to appear on Facebook or also on Instagram? What's the combination of different placements? How do I measure the success? So what is the framework, what we talked about, the solid framework for measuring the success? Who do I want to see my ad? What we talked about, targeting and optimization. These and a lot of other questions, you can also ask them to me later. I'll be around, so feel free to pop by. And this question is, how do I monetize my game? So how do we make sure that all these users are actually worth it? And here's Ben that will drive us to the monetization bit.
Thanks, Alessio. Can everyone hear me? Yep. Thanks very much for coming today. It's a real pleasure to talk at a conference. I'm Ben Atherton. I run Publisher SMB for EMEA for Facebook. That means I work almost exclusively with gaming publishers day to day. They're our core focus. So I wanted to start just by telling you a little bit about where we came from, what our history is. So Audience Network is pretty new compared to a lot of the competitors in the monetization space and in the demand space. It was launched at F8 in 2014. It was launched for apps first, and since then we've expanded across other platforms, and we've expanded into other formats as well. What's important to know, I think, about Audience Network is how we're actually built and how we're engineered as a company. So first and foremost, we're engineered for advertiser value. So it's our belief that if you keep advertisers happy, by definition, you are going to keep users happy and you're going to keep publishers work. How it works is if we are creating the right kinds of formats for advertisers, if we are creating the right kinds of experiences in-app for the user base, if we are building the right kind of demand matching engines, so placing the right kind of advertising in front of the right users at a relevant time within the app, what we're effectively creating is a really powerful value exchange between this trinity of stakeholders in the gaming industry. In the end, what we care about is building that value exchange so players get the better experiences. The advertisers have a really strong new channel to which to, in this case, often install their games. And publishers then, by definition, will benefit through monetization. So if you think about what that means in terms of benefits to publishers. So we work with the torso and the long tail in my team in particular. And a lot of developers in that space aren't necessarily UA experts or monetization experts. They wear multiple hats. They're in development, they're in management, they're in user acquisition, as I said, and they're also in admin and making sure the company runs as smoothly as possible. The critical benefits that we bring to the table is we have a really deep demand pool. It's quite possibly the largest and deepest demand pool out there, with millions of advertisers worldwide, users for your apps. And we also have best-in-class fill rates and CPMs, particularly in rewarded video. I'm going to talk about that in a wee while. I don't know if Nate from Colibri is here this morning, but we have a case study, a video case study that we're going to show in a second. And of course, we only serve high-quality targeted ads. We know that quality is very important in this space for your user bases, and we have a deep pool of quality ads. So in 2017, I don't have the 2018 number because we're still working it out, but in 2017, we paid $3.2 billion out to publishers. So that's really a testament to how seriously we take this space. You know, we are built to support the publisher ecosystem, and particularly exciting in gaming, where we feel we can make a significant effect on the growth and monetization of your businesses. We have a number of solutions for app publishers, gaming solutions, formats. I don't know if anyone saw the presentation at 10 o'clock this morning from Joy about instant games. If you didn't, I suggest you find her. We have 1.3 billion users on Messenger. Of those, a large chunk are now using HTML games, HTML5 games, which we call instant games. We have some very interesting optimization tools, price targets, I'll talk about in a little bit. It's very different to what the competition does, and it maximizes your value per impression on a per CPM basis. Bidding. I don't know how many people in the audience are interested in bidding today, but we see bidding as a big bet for 2019 as a way to make the market more transparent and more fair, and again, to allow the publishers to maximize their revenue per impression that they request from demand sources. We'll talk about MoMA, which is our analytics console, and we'll talk about quality control. So first of all, in gaming, it's probably no surprise for you guys to understand that gaming is probably where we have this amazing product market fit between advertising and users, where users totally accept that in order to play a free game, advertising is the model by which they can play that game. And we know also that relevant ads drive engagement and revenue. And this is where the depth of the Facebook demand pool becomes so important. We only match versus our own users. So if you send us in a request, we will not send you back an ad unless that matches with a Facebook user. And this is a critical benefit to publishers because we have a deep set of data on that user that we can use to match that user from our very deep demand pool. Obviously, we have a full suite of formats. I just want to get on to case studies now, because I think that's where it's possibly most interesting in terms of building, bringing to life what we do. So couple of rewarded video case studies here from Playrix, and they're pretty simple. The range here in terms of the increase of CPMs is between 20 and 80%. I don't think it's a secret to say to everybody in the room that generally speaking, our publishers tell us that we are #1 in the waterfall when it comes to rewarded video, and we can substantially outperform other networks most of the time. Obviously, that isn't true for every single publisher all of the time, but based on what we see, that's true across the board for most of our publishers. I also wanted to introduce a sort of slightly more in-depth case study. This is from Colibri Games. I don't know if everyone's familiar with Colibri. They are a Berlin-based studio. They have a large and growing portfolio of games. They implemented a very interesting optimization model with us last year, and that's what we call the sandwich or the lasagna. Is everyone familiar with the sandwich and lasagna? Yeah? So that's when you have a slew of demand sources. You might have 10 to 12 demand sources, and you put one particular demand source in multiple places on the waterfall. So Facebook, for example, was in first place, and several other places, 10 to 12 demand places. Now, what does that do? What that does is overall, it maximizes your value per impression. So you can set a very high bar for the top 2 to 3% of your users. It's not uncommon to hit a 3-figure CPM in some cases. And then you set other bars to make sure that you're matching your user cohorts with the CPMs that typically demand sources will play. So I'm just going to click onto the Colibri case study now, and hopefully the audio will play. Thank you. And Nate, who's the VP there, can tell you more.
Colibri Games is a game studio based in Berlin. We want to be the #1 player-driven idle games developer in the world. Our customers can't get enough of rewarded video ads. They're resonating extremely well with the players. Our optimization strategy has been multiple CPM targets within our waterfall. Since implementing the audience network, we've doubled our revenue, and the CPMs that we get from Facebook are above and beyond all of the other networks.
Okay, thanks, Nate. He is here today, so you can ask him in the flesh if you do come across him somewhere in the building. It's a bit of a warrant, so it might be difficult. Obviously, we also support multiple other formats. We have a case study here from GameShun, where they saw higher ECMs and a greater increase in fill, again, increasing their revenue on a per impression basis. Instant games, I mentioned just earlier on. If you can find Joy Marjanovic, she is here again. She can tell you about our HTML5 games platform. What I know in our portfolio of publishers is that over 40% of all our publishers who are monetizing with Facebook today in EMEA also have at least one instant game on the Messenger platform. So as Alessio said earlier, do come and find us afterwards if you want to talk a little bit more about that. Bidding. We've heard a lot about bidding in the last 12 months. This is a major project for Facebook. We believe that bidding is the way to build transparency into the market. Obviously, I think everybody in the room knows what bidding is, but just for the sake of explaining it, the bidding differs from the waterfall in that you send requests in on a simultaneous basis, and you get demand sources replying to you on a very low latency, typically within 120 to 200 milliseconds, that allows you to then understand which of those demand sources is going to pay the most for that particular request for that particular user. So what we've seen in bidding is we've seen a significant uplift for all the publishers that we've trialed and rolled out bidding for in 2018. Here's one from Tailphone, where they saw a 20% increase in implementing the Facebook bidding solution across all their demand sources. This is not uncommon by any means. We're seeing these kind of figures. You also have a guest today from Green Panda Games. You might want to seek him out. His name is Shreyas. He implemented bidding last year. We saw a significant increase in ARPDAU for him across a multitude of his games, purely by implementing the Facebook bidding solution. And then quality. I think as Facebook, it's very important that we get to talk about quality. It's something we take extremely seriously. We only deliver with first-party demand. We have strict policies with multi-point monitoring, no third-party servers. All ad creators are preloaded and served by Facebook servers, returning ads with low latency. There's no domain spoofing, and we hand-curate video ads. So we put a huge amount of resources into this space to make sure we're doing our bit to drive quality in this place. And the other thing to say here is if you get an ad from Facebook, it generally tends to be pretty high quality in terms of the ad. And what we do know from publishers on an anecdotal basis is they like to have high quality ads in their apps, which obviously makes a lot of sense. Getting started is really easy. You can just go to the Audience Network site, or you can come and talk to us. There's actually quite a few Facebook people here today. I can see a few dotted around the room. It's great to have everybody here. Please just ask us how we get started, how you get started on the platform, and we'd be very happy to help you. And just, think about monetization earlier. It's quite an obvious thing to say, but what we see is that very successful publishers are ones who've thought about how you integrate that first interstitial or that first rewarded video and how that fits with your gameplay, and whether even if you're not 100% IAA, how you move from IAP to IAA, think carefully about. We have a bunch of analytics and optimization tools. This is what Monetization Manager looks like. You can see up-to-date data on how your app is performing or your family of apps are performing. And then we have a product called Cpm Target. So what Cpm Targets does is, instead of having a floor on your CPM and you send in a request and say, I want to reward a video at $15 plus or $20 plus, that means for most demand sources, you're going to reject bids at $14.99 or you reject bids at $19.99. What we do is we look at bids in the aggregate. So we take a greater percentage of bids in and around that price target level of $20 that you've set, if it's $20. And what that does is it enables us to fill more of those requests at that level and increase your overall yield. That's it from us. Thanks very much. As Alessio said earlier on, we're really happy to take questions. We're around all day and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, guys. So, on that note, is there any questions out there? So, I have a microphone if you want to. So, I'll ask a question. So, what do you think is kind of the one takeaway that you think, one reason why a game developer should talk to you guys today? What is the sort of primary one, would you say?
I would answer on Alessio's behalf and say, if you look at third-party sources, if you look at App's report from late last year, if you look at lots of other third-party reports, they say our cost per install is significantly better to many other demand sources. So when you're in the early stages of developing your game, and UA is so important, we're a very good partner to come to.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.